In this video, I want to show you how you can customize the pen box easily. So this is the one pen box where you can actually add some images or logo or digital paper to make it more colorful to print and cut. So this is really a print and cut. So when you have the pen SVG file, so this is a single pen. I'm not sure if this would be in Cricut, the double pen box may be too large to do print and cut because it's limited. But when you unzip the single pen, you'll see three, under the SVG files folder, you'll see three different folders. One with the small window, no window, which means it's just a solid box, so you can put your own cutouts in it, and a large window. So the small window, I think, is the one that is the best to use for like a small little image or logo. So I'm opening that up, and we want to use the complete file for Cricut. So we're going to go ahead and double click on that. And they have two versions. We have one, if you look under preview of this, we have one that has dashed lines, which is meant to be cut if you don't have a scoring tool. So those we wouldn't change it to score, we'd just go ahead and attach those score lines and they would cut. And this one, so it has an insert as well, but we're not going to modify that. And then these, the solid line versions, meant to be used with the score tool or a score wheel. So we're going to use a score tool, so we're going to go ahead and use that. So let's go ahead over here. And if you're wondering how we have a little preview, how you can do for some reason your Windows doesn't do this, there's another video on our YouTube channel, and I'll put a link below in the notes that tells you how you can install a little extension to be able to preview within Windows Explorer. With Mac, it should be default. So now let's go ahead and start a new project over here. We'll expand this Cricut page. I'm going to replace it because I was working with another file here. And then we're going to go ahead and hit upload, and we're going to use this complete file that says solid lines at the end. So I'm just going to go, upload, drop it in there, and I can see a preview. And you can go ahead and change the tags however you want to, but in this case I'm not going to do anything. Then go ahead and select this file, click on Insert Images. Now I'm going to expand. Let's see. So right here, as you can see, the whole thing comes in. So this is the insert, and that's the box. So the box is the only thing we're going to customize. So let's go ahead with all our complete files. We need to ungroup, so we're just going to ungroup it once, and we're going to move this to the side. So this is not necessary for what I'm doing right now. So right here I have it as just blue. But we want to do print and cut. So you could do that. You could put a color and print and cut. So what we want to do, let's go ahead. I'll show you a simple thing you can do. I'm going to add a logo to it. So click on upload, and let's bring in my logo. So let me duplicate this so we don't have any issues and have a backup over here. So you'll have two different versions. So let's say you just want to add a logo or an image, just like an image of a flower or something like that. You could just place it on this. So what I would suggest, and this is just be really careful, and that's why we have this just in case. Let's go ahead and right click and say ungroup. And so now I'm on the outside of it. So if you can see over here on the right hand side, here are the score lines, which we need to change the score, so we might as well do that right now. Up here in the upper left, change it to score. Then right here, I'm going to highlight that, but let's say I want it white or gray. Let's make it gray. So let's change the color. So on the upper left, they changed a couple things. I'm going to choose standard print and cut because that's what we're going to end up with. And we're going to change the color. I'm going to click on advanced because I want to be able to pick and choose. Let's do a light blue. And there's my logo, and I want to print it out with my logo, print and cut it. So we're going to go ahead and highlight the outside. So on the right hand side, make sure you're not selecting the score. And then I'm going to hold the shift key, and then let's do it on the right hand side. Then I'm going to select the logo. So I have the print and cut and logo. Now with those both selected, we need to select flatten in the lower right hand corner. So it comes to the front. So we're just going to say arrange. I think we need to send it to back. So now we have the score lines. If you look on the right hand side, I highlighted both. It says score still for the score lines, and then print, then cut. So what we need to do is attach the score lines now. So now that we flattened it with the logo, we had to attach the score lines. So let's go ahead and select attach, and then now you'll see it says attach over here. So when we go to make it, you'll see a preview of it, and it will not print out the score lines, but you can see where the score lines are. So if I go, we're not going to continue at this point, so let's just cancel and let's do the second one. So I'm only going to demonstrate it cutting for one. So that's if you just wanted to add one simple image, and you can do images on the sides however you want. So let's just move this down out of our way. So I'm not a real fan of the score tool, but I think for the demo I'm going to use the dashed lines to cut them rather than score. So I showed you how to score and attach the other way, so this is the cut lines. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull in just the default one in here under pen box small window. I already have the insert, so I'm just going to pull this in, which is the dashed lines. You can see it's like that. So I'm going to select that, insert it, and we'll add a paper to it to print and cut. So for this, we don't need to change it to score up here, score lines, because we're going to cut the dash lines. And that will make it easier to fold. So if you're doing a lot of these, you might want to do that because it just doesn't score well enough with the score tool. So, but I still offer it for those that do the onesie twosies that you can score, double score or something like that. There's some techniques to make the scoring a little bit thicker, not thicker, a little bit more pronounced so you can fold easily, and some people manually score them too. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and select just the outline of this, the cut part. So make sure that on the right hand side you select it over here, and make sure the score lines are not selected. And we can go ahead and upload an image, and we already have some uploaded. So we're going to go ahead and under this little drop down, select standard under print and cut, and then hit the color here. We're going to change it to pattern. So it's the only reason I don't like their print, the way that they store their patterns, that they're so small. So you have to kind of pay attention to what you upload and what you want to use. So we're going to go ahead and use this. Let's see, there's a music file, or there's some fish. The fish have a little distress in them, so let's go ahead and let's just do the music file. So that'd be a fun box. So we could use the standard size, or we can actually edit it and make it a little bigger or smaller. You can see right there, and it shows it. It'll display what it's going to look like right here. So if I just want to make them a little bit bigger, I'd do that, and then it'll reflect here. So as you can see, there's dashed lines still. So after we add this, so it's set to print and cut. Over here you see it's print and cut on the right, and it's a basic cut, so those dashed score lines will cut. We're going to highlight everything, so the entire group, and on the right hand side attach those score lines. So now when we go to make it, and make sure you save if you need to save it as you're doing this. I'm not doing a lot of saving here. We don't want to do that one, we want to do this. So we're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to send it to the printer. Make sure bleeds enabled to the right. So, and what I'll do is just make sure that it prints beyond where it's going to cut, so you don't have like any white edges. And then I always use the system dialog box because I have to, because I have a printer that has a couple options to print from the rear tray. And I want it to print from the rear tray. So we just wait for that to come up. I have duplicate ones, but the copy one's the one I want. Click on preferences. And I want to print on my cardstock, so this will be different for everybody else's, whatever printer you're using. I have letter size, and then I want it to select from the rear tray. So it just depends on what printer you're using. Some people just put cardstock in their tray. So now it's printing, and then once it prints, I'll go ahead, as it's printing, select the options I want. So I want medium cardstock for mine, and you'll have to know what you need. And I always use more, and I'm using a Nina cardstock. And I don't need a scoring tool because I'm not scoring. I'm going to be cutting my score lines. So once it prints out, we'll put it on a mat and we'll start cutting. So I placed the printout on my mat as shown, so it needs to be that way. It needs to be oriented on the mat that way, else it won't find the registration box that's around it. So let me go ahead and insert it and start cutting it. So we'll go ahead and insert it. And then go ahead and start cutting it once I get the little blinky Cricut symbol. There we go. So it's just going to read the registration marks, and then it will cut. I have the score tool in, but that's not necessary. It'll cut all those score lines and all that fun stuff. So it's currently cutting, so it'll take quite a while, as you can hear it in the background, to cut the score lines, because the score lines are all individual cuts, and then cut it out. And then I will show you what it looks like as it comes off the mat, but it just takes a while. So it's finishing up, just cutting around the edges, and then it'll be done right now. So let's go ahead and eject. I'm just going to quickly take it off the mat. Pop that out. So there it is. I'm just getting the light here. So it's easier because I tore it just a little bit, but because it's got dashed lines, it's just easier to fold. So, but I did tear it a little bit, so when it's final, it's just because I'm doing it on video. So here it is cut out. So this is the one with the dashed score lines. And the reason why I wanted to show you actually both. So, this was the dashed. But you can see how easily it folds. So when we fold it to make it, and just ignore this, it's broken a little bit. So it's just because I pulled it off the mat quickly. So when I fold it, it's so much easier to fold than with the score lines. And then so this one is a score line. So it's so lightly done that I have to kind of look for the score line, and then you'd have to use like a bone folder or something. But it's just not that accurate. So we don't want to, this is not a good method unless you have a way to tweak your scoring to make it a little bit harder, you know, or what do I say, deeper. So let me get rid of that. So then let's just quickly put together this one so you can see just how fun it is. So instead of just using, I know you could use pattern paper, so you don't have to. I mean, a lot of this is if you want to put your name on it or something like that. But I think it's more fun because you can, so many different possibilities, and you could add like some flowers, or it could be different. Let's just say you do Christmas ones, you might want to put Christmas paper, and you don't have the paper, so you can do it with digital paper. It's just fun. That's it. So it would just be a fun little, if you had like a pen that was matched to this color, that kind of thing. So that's it. That's how it comes out after we customize it on the Cricut. So if you do like this video, please give me a little thumbs up and or subscribe to our channel. Thank you.